Hi everybody, welcome to Mrs. Maxwell's Ceramics 1 pinch pot lesson. So most of you have picked this up, your clay kit from the high school. And materials that you need other than your clay is a small cup or small bowl of water and a pencil. You'll notice that I sectioned my clay kit block out into 3 sections here. I have a large sphere, medium, and small. For the pinch pot project, we are going to be using these 2 spheres. You're going to make a large pinch pot and a small pinch pot. So for this lesson tutorial, I will be making a small pinch pot with you. Make sure that you set your extra clay to the side, put it back in your Ziploc bag, and save it for the next project. All right, we'll get started in just a moment.
Okay, everybody, you're going to take that medium-sized sphere and we are going to start making our first pinch pot. Now, the first rule when working with clay is to have fun. Second rule is to make sure that you warm up your clay so that it is manageable to work with. So you're going to take that sphere and you're going to start working it in your hands, rolling it, patting it. You'll see that I take my thumb and I smooth out the surface. I'm trying to get rid of all these lumps, bumps, and crevices. Mostly I'm making sure that we don't have any air bubbles in the clay. If there's an air bubble in the clay, it could cause it to crumble before it's fired in the kiln, or it could cause the piece to literally explode while it's being fired in the kiln. It won't hurt the kiln, but it could hurt the clay piece and others around it. So make sure that you're really working that clay in your hands, warming it up, getting it ready to start forming your project. Spend a few minutes with this. It can be very therapeutic. If you start to notice your clay getting dry and starting to crack, that's where your cup or dish of water comes in handy. You're going to just stick your fingertips in that water and smooth it along the surface of your clay like so. You don't want too much water added to your clay because it can make it really muddy and then it just sticks to your hands and it gets everywhere and it's just a mess. Art is messy, but that's what makes it fun too. All right, so you will see that I have this mostly smoothed, beautiful sphere here. And our second step is to start forming our pinch pot. And a pinch pot is a little bowl. So we're gonna take our thumb and we're going to press it into the center like a donut. But we're not gonna go all the way through it. Don't make a tunnel through your clay. Just go about halfway into that sphere like that. Very good. Then you're going to take your fingertips and your thumb and you're going to start pinching along the edge, hence the name pinch pot, to start forming that pot, that bowl. You can work it in your hands or you can put it on a table surface, whichever is easiest for you. So you'll see how I'm literally spinning it and just pinching it, and I'm starting to form this cute little bowl. I'm grabbing some water and adding it to the edge because it is starting to dry out. You're doing great, everybody. You'll notice on the assignment that it is mentioned that you don't want your clay walls of any project to be too thick or too thin. I recommend that the walls of your pinch pot aren't any thicker than 1/2 inch and any thinner than 1/4 inch. Just keep pinching around the edge using your thumb and your fingers to form that pot. Oh, I can't wait to see your creations. You want the thickness of your walls to be pretty consistent. Something that I do so that I can hollow out the bottom of the pot is I take my finger and I bend it like this, and then I just scrape it along the edge like so that I can start opening the bottom of that pot. If you find that you've made part of the lip of your bowl a little too thick, go ahead and take your fingertips and just pinch around that part that got a little larger than the rest and just smooth it out and make it more uniform. I also wanted to mention that if you're finding that your clay walls are becoming a little too thin, and you can fold your wall over to strengthen that clay wall, that should work. However, you might have to start over too, and that's fine. When you're learning something new, it's all right if you have to start over a couple times. You guys are doing an awesome job. All right, so I'm almost completely finished with forming my pinch pot. And this is where you can decide if you want to leave the texture of your fingertips around that surface, or if you want to take some of that water and just smooth out your surface so that there's not that texture. That's totally up to you. You can leave the texture if you want. It is a pinch pot, it's hand built, so if you have some of your fingertips or fingerprints rather in the clay, that's fine, that makes it. Once you are satisfied with the look of your pinch pot, you're gonna take your pencil and you're going to write your name or your initials on the bottom of the pot so that we know whose project is whose. So I'm gonna put my initial on there. You'll see that when you draw into your clay, it tends to pull up some of that clay particle. You can just take your fingertips and smooth that out, like so.
When you are finished with your pinch pot and you have put your initials on the bottom, make sure that you put it on a shelf or somewhere safe that you can leave it to dry. It's really important to let your piece dry because it has to be fully dry for me to run it through the kiln, and it will be easier for you to transport back to the high school as well. Here I have an example of the stages that your clay will go through during this process. You will see that the very first pinch pot on the left is in the greenware state. That's the one that I just made. You're going to set your piece to the side and let it dry before you bring it back to me. It has to be completely dry for me to run it through the kiln. Next, this is the bisqueware state. That's after the first kiln fire, and it is ready to apply glaze. And then this is the finished project here on the right. You'll see beautiful vibrant glaze and how wonderful that pinch pot looks. All right, everybody, get creative and have fun.